Hollywood has come a long way. That doesn't mean it still doesn't have a long way to go. Every year now, our culture seems to be taking a step or two closer to true progress, and for the most part, this progression has been widely praised by both critics and audiences alike. Evolution is a byproduct of passing time, that's just science, but no evolutionary movement in history, no matter its size or purpose, has operated without leadership, without role models and figureheads. How would history be different today without the likes of Martin Luther King Jr., Betty Friedan, Malcolm X, or even Laura Mulvey? As the entertainment industry continues to evolve in the coming years, we must look to new faces to take the reins and guide our newest generations down the path to true equality. One of those leaders in Hollywood, I predict, will be Michael B. Jordan.
All I can say is I told you.
Born in Santa Ana, California, to Donna and Michael A. Jordan and raised in Newark, New Jersey, Michael B. Jordan has always been a fighter. In an interview with NPR's Audrey Cornish, he said, "I think growing up playing sports and having a name like Michael Jordan, I used to get teased a lot, but it made me want to strive for greatness and be able to compete at whatever I decided to do." He started off in his acting career taking small roles in commercials as well as a brief speaking role in the first season of the wildly popular HBO show, The Sopranos.
Hey, what you doing? Where you spin? What do you mean?
It wasn't until 2002 when he really got his name out there for his emotionally charged performance as Wallace in HBO's first season of The Wire, a show that explores the dynamic between the local police and the street crime network of Baltimore.
Yo, D, look, I appreciate what you're trying to say and all, but I grew up in the courts, all right?
Though he had some successful roles in the years following his time on The Wire, he didn't get much buzz until his sensational performance in the non-fiction film Fruitville Station, in which he starred as police shooting victim Oscar Grant. This role provided Michael with his first experience with one of his biggest allies in the future, director Ryan Coogler, with whom he would later work on his biggest projects to date, Creed, and of course, Black Panther. Fruitville Station, though it culminates in the eventual murder of Oscar Grant by a policeman, tells the story of a man and his struggles with family and finances. Through his performance, audiences see Oscar for what he was, a realistic, flawed character. Countless past projects have failed to depict its black characters as anything other than black characters, reducing them to little more than stereotypes or extraordinary exceptions to those same stereotypes. Stephen Boone, a film critic for RogerEbert.com, expresses this distasteful habit of filmmakers by saying, "The past 3 decades were about depicting the refurbished, physically potent, and powerful black man as a moral and intellectual weakling. When we did get a glimpse of black male intelligence, it tended to be the psychopathic, street-smart variety. The pop icons among rap artists, the ones who dine with the corporate elite, promote prison culture, ruthless self-interest, and jewelry." He goes on to talk about how Fruitville Station's Oscar Grant undermines these disappointing trends. He dresses like a homeboy and blasts his car stereo, but he is no thug. He's a father worrying about rent, bills, and his daughter's schooling. He used to sell marijuana to get by, and losing his job at the local supermarket pushes him much closer to dealing pot again. Jamil Smith from Time magazine expands upon the subject of a layered depiction of characters, stating, "Those of us who are not white have considerably more trouble not only finding representation of ourselves in mass media and other arenas of public life, but also finding representation that indicates that our humanity is multifaceted. Relating to characters on screen is necessary not merely for us to feel seen and understood, but also for others who need to see and understand us." And PhD student Alex Dennison adds in an essay of his own, "While Coogler is certainly making an intervention in mainstream culture by contesting dominant cinematic representations and calling attention to the problem of police brutality, the film never truly succumbs to the pitfall of an innocent black subject. Injustice plays a pivotal role, yet Grant is portrayed in a more complex manner through his mistakes and character flaws."
I could've kept getting it. You wouldn't have known shit.
Oh, so you would've just kept faking? And been out there busting knocks and doing whatever else, or whoever
Say you want
else
the truth,
do?
right?
Well, I'm
You
at
ain't even
work.
trying to hear me.
I want you to be
You're not even
honest
trying
with
to
me,
hear it right
but
now.
off the top from the
You ain't even
fucking
listening.
jump. And after you lie for 2 weeks, get cornered, and don't have a choice. That's some pussy ass shit.
By the end of the movie, audiences of all different colors are enamored by Michael B. Jordan and in love with Oscar Grant, flaws and all, because those character flaws mixed with the brighter sides to his character, the love he has for his family, his desire to be better than he is for them, that make people see him as human. And when the trigger is pulled and Oscar is shot, you can almost see the injustice through Michael's expression. and the entire crowd feels it on a deep emotional level thanks to him. Skip forward 2 years. Creed finally hits theaters and jumpstarts one of America's most iconic franchises that many believe to be dead after a series of underwhelming sequels. And it doesn't just meet expectations, it revitalizes a long-dormant series, building upon a legacy while creating one of its very own. As Dennison states, it is a reworking of a famous franchise, an established genre that actively takes race and ethnicity into account. Like Adonis Creed himself, Michael B. Jordan proves himself more than just a name, more than just a reputation. They create a film that is easily marketable and fits the mold of a Hollywood blockbuster, Dennison continues. Yet they simultaneously engage with the discourse on socio-political concerns and alter the dominant ways in which black characters are represented on screen. Through the familiar lens of a blockbuster boxing movie, Jordan and Coogler found a way to preach their messages while making it accessible to mass audiences, a strategy that the duo implement 3 years later with their internationally celebrated film, Black Panther. Over $1 billion by the 26th day after its release, Black Panther remains the most financially successful Marvel movie aside from Avengers: Infinity War. A movie with double the budget given to Black Panther, a fact made even more impressive when you consider that Black Panther was the first movie of its kind, whereas Infinity War had 10 years of build-up both in terms of character development and audience expectations. Black Panther isn't just another fun, superhero action romp either. It offers complex characters both as protagonists and antagonists, the most compelling being the main antagonist, Eric Killmonger, played of course by Michael B. Jordan. Released in the spring of 2018, the film's relevancy cannot be understated. Jamil Smith speaks strongly about this movie and its drastic influence on culture today, claiming that it came out as the industry is wrestling with its toxic treatment of women and persons of color. This rapidly expanding reckoning, one that reflects the importance of representation in our culture, is long overdue. Black Panther is poised to prove to Hollywood that African American narratives have the power to generate profits from all audiences. Not only does this movie present mass, and I mean mass audiences, with a predominantly black cast, but it centers around social issues that would have never come up in a superhero movie 10 years ago.
Now what do you want? I want the throne.
Hey, you, the tuna.
Y'all sitting up here comfortable. Must feel good. It's about 2 billion people all over the world that looks like us, but their lives are a lot harder. Wakanda has the tools to liberate them all.
This story and the profits that followed seem like a wake-up call for Hollywood, an ever-grossing industry obsessed with profit. Disney and Marvel Studios realized that all colors of movies can produce green if they produce well. Maybe in a few years, choices like these will be commonplace. Maybe in a few decades, the news articles won't even bother mentioning the diverse ethnicity of the cast and crew behind the camera, and instead will focus on what really matters in these performances. And that is the performance itself, regardless of the skin color of whoever is performing. Michael B. Jordan, however, seems to be already there himself. He's also discussed in past interviews about his desires to take roles written originally for white men. Me playing that role is going to make it what it is, Michael B. Jordan said. I don't want any pre-bias on the character. Most notably, this desire can be seen in his 2015 role of Johnny Storm in the poorly received Fantastic Four reboot. After hearing the immediate backlash to the announcement of his casting as Johnny Storm, Jordan told the press, "Sometimes you have to be the person who stands up and says, I'll be the one to shoulder all this hate. I'll take the brunt for the next couple of generations. I put that responsibility on myself. People are always going to see each other in terms of race, but maybe in the future we won't talk about it as much. So here's to hoping that in a few hundred years from now, diversity along with social commentary is no longer a selling point for a movie, but rather a common standard held by the industry as a whole." Honita Davis, critic for The Guardian, says it best. Jordan has honed his skills and set his goals while plotting to challenge an oppressive system that has weighed people of color down. He's working hard to claim his own seat at the table and is taking care to prevent barriers to his progress and that of black actors coming up behind him. With a banner year, he's not only becoming Hollywood's most exciting new leading man, but he's helping to define what we should expect from other leading men in the future.
I can't lose. Undefeated. Daddy's 100-0.